Abraham is a pivotal character. He's mentioned in many chapters of the Old Testament outside of Genesis 11 to 25, where he primarily appears, and he's also mentioned in 25 different New Testament chapters. He's a great man of faith. He's an ancestor of Jesus Christ, in fact, an ancestor of David. The lineage in Matthew 1, the opening of the New Testament, moves from Abraham through David and all the way down to Jesus. Abraham is a man of faith. His wife Sarah, who we'll look at next time, is definitely a woman of faith. There's much to say about Abraham, and what I've decided to do is try to encapsulate the lessons of faith in just a few points. And that first point is that faith keeps moving. Let's begin in Genesis chapter 12. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'll remind you that Abraham previously lived in Ur, and his family moved from there to Haran, which was halfway between Ur and Canaan. But in chapter 12, God says it's time now to leave Haran. It's time to go to the promised land. And so that's where we're going to begin right now. Let's read. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, the one who curses you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." So Abraham went forth, I should say Abram, because his name is not yet changed. Abram went forth as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. Now Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his nephew, and all their possessions which they had accumulated, and the persons which they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. Thus they came to the land of Canaan. Genesis 12. Abraham, the man of faith. A faith that keeps moving. What kind of moving are we talking about? Are we talking about geographical moves? Is that what God wants us to make? Well, perhaps. And for many of us listening to these podcasts, we've moved before. If you have moved just a few times in your life, you're very fortunate. And in Western society, moving becomes more and more common. Even for me and for my family, we've had many moves. As missionaries, as preacher and wife, we've had 8 international moves, in fact. But I don't believe that the passage is telling us we need to move internationally. That could be, but I think it's a spiritual move. And basically, if we move forward and keep in step with the Lord, keep in step with His Spirit, we grow. But if we don't determine to move forward, we tend to drift backward. We slip, we regress. What we see Abraham doing is this. He leaves Haran immediately, giving up his security and quite likely his good reputation. Romans 4 and Hebrews 11, which we'll return to later, are commentaries on his life from the New Testament, and they highlight his faith and his obedience. He did not use age as an excuse. He was 75 years old at this point.